Welcome. Today we're talking with Kirsten Trusko. She's the co-founder of Payments As A Lifeline, or PAAL, the CEO and co-founder of Emerging Markets Coalition, and the CEO of Valkyrie. Kirsten, welcome, and thank you for joining us at today's Banker Digest.
Delighted to be here.
Great. All right, well, let's get started. Kirsten, you're involved in a number of humanitarian financial aid ventures. If I am correct, Payments As A Lifeline really circles around and connects many of those initiatives. Can you briefly explain Payments As A Lifeline with an example?
Absolutely. Well, Larry, thank you for having me. Thank you for the listeners here. So Payments As A Lifeline, if you want to look it up, it's PAALPAY.org. It's a nonprofit coalition of some of the top financial services, payments, fintech companies dedicated to serve in disaster and humanitarian financial aid. We've come together to leverage existing fintech tools to deliver these funds to people in a really innovative way. It's safe, secure, it provides dignity, and PAAL delivers the funds on behalf of funders like government, federal, state, local, insurers, corporate foundations, nonprofits. They can choose a number of different options on whether or not they want to leave the funds unrestricted or if they want to add controls for waste, fraud, and abuse. So great timing as we come into a 2024 election. You asked for an example.
Yes.
So PAAL is really blessed to get to work with some of the top corporate foundations and charities really in the world. One of them on the PAAL advisory board is Good 360. If you look up good360.org, they've got a very, very active disaster preparedness and response group, and we're honored to serve on that. So we did a pilot with them in blue sky days, right? That's what you call when there's no disaster running presently. And that's when you need to do the pilots. So we did the pilot. There were probably 17 different nonprofits, foundations. You would know the names. They're all household names. And proved out how the technology works, how the data analysis works. And then the Kentucky tornadoes struck. And UPS Foundation had been one of those that was part of the pilot. They called on a Friday, said, we've got our second headquarters was hit. We have drivers who need aid right now. How fast can you help us get the funds to them? And it was 5 days. Whereas other corporate platforms that often these corporations use, it takes 8 to 12 weeks to get funds.
Wow. That's so quite inspiring. Impressive. Yeah. Thank you, Kirsten. So great example. How do you see Payments As A Lifeline helping the unserved and the underserved market segments?
So underbanked, underserved has been a personal pro bono passion for my entire career. So there's always been a goal to try to figure out how to be inclusive of the folks who need the money most and often get it last. So what we saw with a lot of the pandemic relief, who got the money? The fraudsters got it first, then people who have bank accounts, and then at the end were the underbanked and underserved. So what PAAL seeks to do is to proactively address this in a number of ways. And all of this requires advanced planning and pilots. So we preach a lot about preparedness. When did Noah build the ark? Before the floods. So we'll proactively collaborate with government agencies, with nonprofits who already served the defined population. And this population that tends to be underbanked and underserved. So we coordinate with them to create pilots and programs to assure funds can go out in days or hours versus weeks and months, and that the funds only go to the people for whom it's intended and not the fraudsters.
Great. Just amazing. So Kirsten, what is the role for local and regional banks in these Payments As A Lifeline initiatives?
So Larry, that was what I was most excited about when you asked if we could have this chat. The local regional financial institutions are so hypercritical to this. So the funders are government, federal, state, local, they're corporate foundations, charities. They want to work with the local financial institution. They want that financial institution front and center of the branding, whether it's on a card or a QR code. they want to work local and keep the money local. And so the role for the financial institutions, even if they don't have the fintech and payment capabilities yet, is if they're interested in learning more and participating, contact me. And if you don't have the capabilities, we can introduce you to partners who do, and you get to help heroes. I mean, how often in banking and fintech do we get to help heroes? It's amazing, and we would love to have more local and regional FIs.
Great. Well, Kirsten, thank you for spending time with today's Banker Digest. Your creative approach and solutions to advance humanitarian financial aid services is not only impressive, but also admirable. So again, thank you, Kirsten.
Thank you for having me.
Great. In closing, thank you for joining today's Banker Digest. If you have additional questions for Kirsten, please see the link in her bio.